Immerse yourself in the charming world of The Brady Bunch, a beloved 1960s television sitcom. It became a smashing success despite low initial ratings. Marcia, portrayed by the lovely Maureen McCormick, was well beloved by the audience. Fans loved that she portrayed the ideal girl while also displaying some rebelliousness. The Brady family, consisting of parents, step-siblings, and a whole lot of ordinary people, was the focus of the program. Their challenges, such as juggling job and family, might resonate with viewers. Lloyd Schwartz did an excellent job as director of creating an authentic atmosphere for the event. The program stopped in 1974 after 5 seasons, but its effect remained long after. The Brady's hilarious and universally relatable adventures have kept fans of the show going strong. Fans of The Brady Bunch couldn't get enough of Marcia Brady. Her wholesome charisma made her seem like the older sister any of us would have loved to have. Marcia, portrayed by Maureen McCormick, was a fantastic role model for American females of a certain age. Although it seemed like everything was running well on the program, there were really some intriguing things going on behind the scenes. Playing Marcia began when Maureen was 13 years old, and she was 18 when the program concluded. Her upbringing on set made it difficult for her to mature into the part. She thought the plots were becoming old and that the Brady kids weren't maturing like real people do. In her book, Maureen expressed her desire for screenplays that depicted youngsters coping with real-life issues such as relationships or acting out in a more mature manner. It might be challenging to play a role so convincingly. The more invested you become, the more others start to see you as the character, even if you're really just you. It's a mixed blessing and a curse, like Emilia Clarke's indelible portrayal of Daenerys in Game of Thrones, or Allison Hannigan's portrayal of Willow in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When you captivate an audience, it's difficult for them to recognize you as anybody else. The same was true for Maureen. She began to slip into the chasm. She was terrified of being typecast as her portrayal of Marcia shifted from nice girl to bad girl. Many Americans looked up to her as Marcia Brady, the girl who had become a romantic icon. She exemplified this well in her memoirs. In 1974, once her role on The Brady Bunch ended, she began seeking for other opportunities. At long last, she saw an opportunity to star in the criminal thriller Midnight Express, which was adapted on the life of American Bill Hayes, were apprehended while attempting to depart Turkey while carrying narcotics. She would claim that the role of Bill's lover Susan had been bestowed to her. As a complex individual, Sue seemed like the ideal vehicle for Maureen to shed Marcia's shadow and prove herself as an actress with range and talent. That is why she ran with the opportunity. As she reflected on the event, she would exclaim how well the interviews had gone. The directors even summoned her back after her initial reading because of how wonderfully she performed. Not only did Midnight Express include an A-list cast, but its crew, which included Oliver Stone and Alan Parker, was second to none. That is why an aspiring young actress would do well to apply for this position. The fact that the role was almost abruptly taken away from her just added to her difficulties. The situation became even worse when her agency informed her that the role had been passed on due to the crew's lack of confidence in her abilities. It was hard for everyone to believe that Maureen had taken on the role of Marcia Brady in a violent crime thriller that dealt with mature subjects, particularly narcotics. They mistakenly believed it was the identical portrayal. Irene Miracle, another promising young actress, was hired by the producers in the end. The subsequent events were of such high quality that Irene was considered for a Golden Globe nomination for her portrayal of Susan. It seems like everything was incredibly upsetting to Maureen. Without intending to be disrespectful to Irene, I believe that Maureen would have continued to fantasize about her acting career had the role of Susan been offered to her in the film. Marcia and the producers of The Brady Bunch were to blame, she said, for her inability to get the role. The situation deteriorated to the point that she expressed her hatred for Marcia and regret for having portrayed the role for an extended period of time in her memoirs. Sometimes I understand why she's furious. She lost out on the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that was Midnight Express, because to her type, even though it may have revolutionized her life, behaving like a nice girl is over. It was intriguing to see that Maureen wasn't the only one who had issues with her persona. The actors who portrayed the other children in the Brady family in particular felt that the plots might have been altered to reflect the kids' maturation and the changes they were experiencing. Everyone believed things might be better after reading Maureen's memoirs. The program may have lost some of its luster towards the end due in part to the excessive repetition of child-related tales. In an effort to make things better, the younger actors approached the showrunners and requested a more dynamic screenplay with many storylines for each character. Marcia preferred to write about typical adolescent experiences, such as Mike and Carol trying swinging in their relationship, the kids having casual relationships with boys and girls, and going through the whole gamut of puberty. However, the showrunners consistently rejected their requests. If you give it any thought, you'll understand their perspective. Making a change to a popular program might potentially derail its success. The logical next step is for some fans to choose another program if they are unhappy with the direction their favorite characters go. One common piece of advice is to don't fix what ain't broken. In this case, however, keep in mind that the show's low ratings meant there was little space for error. The showrunner's already low likelihood of making any adjustments plummeted. Maureen was not one to take rejection sitting down, even when her demands were denied. Ultimately, she did the right thing because she decided to stand up for something. Actress Eve Plum, Jan, Marcia's younger sister, and Maureen made a pact to arrive at the scene in their respective clothing. A lot was implied by the act. Since the program wouldn't allow the ladies act naturally by changing their lines, they sported new outfits and flaunted it to the world. During the filming of many episodes, Maureen and Eve would arrive at set weekly while dressed just in tops and skirts. Everyone present could see it plainly. It was their method of asserting themselves and demonstrating that they will always have a voice. After weeks of going unnoticed for their peculiar wardrobe choices, director Lloyd Schwartz at last caught on to what Maureen and Eve were up to. He separated them and warned them that was unacceptable behavior on set since they had done something wrong. According to some accounts, Schwartz would allegedly use extraordinary measures to ensure that Eve and Maureen acted appropriately. For instance, he would place his palm on their backs to feel the bra straps before filming to ensure everything was in order. Things have changed, and it's terrible that people used to act that way, particularly against girls who weren't old enough. Maureen and Eve have settled their differences and decided to quit being goofballs and start filming in appropriate attire. They believe their little pranks would be worthwhile despite their brevity. The girls reasoned that switching up their wardrobe would prove they were more than the pampered brat stereotype had them believe. The ladies did their best to make a statement, but it is impossible to tell if their whole strategy was successful. Quite amusingly, it wasn't only Maureen and Eve on the program who had chosen to act out now that they felt mature enough. In case you forgot, I said that the young actors were ecstatic to showcase their progress. Everybody appeared to have a method for that. Barry Williams, who portrayed the eldest Brady son Greg, would often bring cigarettes to the set of the Brady Bunch and smoke them, according to Maureen's memoirs. Susan Olsen, who portrayed Cindy Brady, thankfully took a break from filming at a Cincinnati amusement park to get a drink. At the age of 8, when the program began, Susan had never consumed alcohol. Nonetheless, she opted to participate, whether out of horniness or solidarity with her co-stars. While I can't speak for you, I find that to be quite precarious. The showrunners and writers still wouldn't budge no matter how many practical jokes the younger cast members pulled. There could have been other reasons why this was a poor decision. A lot of the actors and actresses on the Brady Bunch were never able to shake the roles they performed. Additional intriguing details on the Brady Bunch exist. Do you recall that I said there was a great deal happening in the background of the show? I promise that wasn't meant to be funny. There may have been some juicy mysteries that should have been revealed, even if millions of people adored this program. How did the Brady Bunch come to be? That's what we'll cover now. The creators' own beliefs, a book, or even their earlier work often serves as inspiration for new television series. An actual event served as inspiration for the Brady Bunch. The show's creator, Sherwood Schwartz, allegedly drew inspiration for it from an article in the Los Angeles Times. The narrative claims that in 1965, a whopping 3% of marriages included children from prior marriages. This suggests that many Americans have experienced a previous divorce before tying the knot. In order to spice things up, Schwartz combined a group of children from 2 separate couples as he found this number intriguing. At last, Schwartz brought the concept to ABC Studios, where it was proposed as a program titled Yours, Mine, and Ours. The network's decision to reject the notion remains a mystery. However, a film starring Lucille Ball and George C. Scott would share the title in 1968. Frank Beardsley, a widower with 10 children, was the protagonist of the 1968 film. As Frank, Henry Fonda starred. Helen, portrayed by Lucille, had 8 children of her own when Frank fell in love with her. Now they were both faced with the difficulties of creating a large, unfamiliar family. Following the popularity of Yours, Mine, and Ours, executives at ABC Studios considered the possibility that a program centered on a large family may also succeed. The proposal put up by Schwartz was approved, and the show was named The Brady Bunch. Susan Olsen's unusual career trajectory. As previously said, when an actor excels in a single role, the risk of being typecast and losing touch with who they are as an individual increases. We may have been fixated on Maureen McCormick for her portrayal of Marcia Brady, but she was far from alone in her struggle. It seems that the issues were also experienced by Susan Olsen, who portrayed Cindy Brady. Like the other members of the Brady Bunch, Susan sought out new acting roles when the show ended. It was just that learning the ropes of the film industry wasn't something she was enjoying very much. Cindy wasn't a household name just yet, and the image of the innocent-looking Cindy Brady stuck in everyone's minds, even those who knew her well, because of this. This meant that Susan had to resume her regular routine. The Brady Bunch was her most well-known project, but she had guest appearances on other series. Despite her lack of acting chops, Susan allegedly had a side job in the pornographic film industry. She had a sound generator in her room, and her roommate was into sexual movies. Her buddy wanted rocket noises for a movie that was due out shortly, so Susan produced them on her piano. After that, she was credited with a sound effect role in an adult film titled Love Probe from a Warm Planet. She claimed to have earned $50 for her efforts on the self-produced pornographic film. It may be said that Susan was the cast member who had the strongest objection to the Brady Bunch's cleanliness standards. Susan seemed to embrace adulthood while the other females made an effort to express their disapproval on stage. Having problems drawing in viewers is an affront to the Brady Bunch's significance as a television program. Plus, there seemed to be a significant disparity between the show's popularity and its financial success, which further complicated matters. But hear me out. If you polled many 1970s TV viewers to choose their favorite program, the vast majority would choose the Brady Bunch. When they were younger, the vast majority of viewers enjoyed the program for the reasons stated above and more. Interestingly, the show's creator, Sherwood Schwartz, has said that at the height of the show's popularity, he received letters from children expressing their intention to flee from their homes and live with the Bradys. It was deeply grave. As the saying goes, for my family, that's how they all became the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch was so successful that it spawned several spin-offs like The Brady Brides and The Brady Bunch Hour, as well as several made-for-TV movies. The show's memorable opening sequence and introduction are still used as inspiration for other popular sitcoms from the era. Despite its massive popularity, The Brady Bunch was unable to achieve sustained success in either the ratings or the movie office. Throughout its 5-year existence, the show failed to crack Nielsen's top 30 list of most popular television programs. The third season was necessary to achieve its all-time high of 31. Fans' adoration for the Brady Bunch becomes clear when one considers the reasons for the show's consistent viewership decline. This program was shown with several others of high quality such as Here's Lucy, Gunsmoke, and many more. For that reason, the program had a hard time reaching the top of the ratings. The Brady Bunch was a fan favorite, according to Schwartz, and the ratings never truly reflected that. It was fascinating to see how the situation unfolded since the figures didn't reflect the show's actual popularity. Despite the frequent cancellation of television sitcoms, the Brady Bunch managed to stay on the air for 5 seasons. The figures probably didn't reflect the show's true popularity. Robert Reed, who is he? The dad, Mike Brady, was one of the most beloved characters on the Brady Bunch, right up there with Marcia. The image embodied the ideal American father figure for many because he was robust, courageous, morally upright, and blessed with a beautiful family. Much of Mike's charisma stemmed from Robert Reed's superb performance as the character. Despite his portrayal of a heterosexual married guy on television, Robert Reed had an intriguing secret. He was homosexual. On the Brady Bunch, Robert unquestionably had the highest level of acting talent. Even before the show, he was a household celebrity because to his roles in critically acclaimed films and critically acclaimed Broadway productions. People weren't always tolerant of homosexuals the way they are today. For the most part of his life, he kept his sexuality a secret out of fear that it would ruin his career. Still, he felt the consequences of his decision. People on the program said he was a snob because he was often yelling at them and was a pain to deal with. You can see why he would act in that way. Keeping a secret from someone as significant as yourself must have been quite stressful for him. However, he was homosexual, and several of his fellow Brady Bunch cast members were aware of it. As part of her 2011 book, Life is Not a Stage Tour, Florence Henderson revealed that she had secretly known Robert to be homosexual. Carol, Robert's real-life wife, was portrayed by Henderson. The truth of Robert's secret was revealed after his 1992 death. Some of his co-stars had become more at ease discussing their knowledge of his sexual orientation. Yet they still preferred to remain silent in order to protect his privacy. Undoubtedly, it was a delicate subject. People likely wouldn't have tuned in if they'd realized he was homosexual while the program was on. It was still difficult to keep such a secret from everyone, I'm sure. You have no idea the magnitude of the influence the Brady Bunch had on viewers throughout the globe. Among all times comedy, it was among the most renowned. Are you in agreement? Should the show's writers have reworked the narrative to reflect the children's maturation? Was Robert Reed correct in keeping his sexual orientation a secret? Use the comment section below to share your thoughts about this program. Till we meet again.